Hey guys, welcome back to the Kobi Simmat audio experience. In this episode, we're talking business again. I'm with Billy Polson from Australian Internet Advertising. Really exciting. Now, full disclaimer, full disclosure here. I am a customer of his, and I'm not super keen on sharing my secrets with the world. But I've got to say that this guy is propelling us into superstardom, which is really exciting. It's something that's working really well for us. And in this episode, I really want to dig deep down into why your website is so important for your organization, why search engine optimization is so important, why you should be promoting best practice as a certification on your website. We're going to get into that. And that's how we're going to link you guys into this episode so that there's a huge amount of value. So, mate, welcome to the Talking Business with Kobi Simmat podcast. So great to have you here. Give us the 5 minutes of who is Billy and what's he all about?
Hi, Kobi. Thanks for inviting me, man. I'm honored. And thanks for your kind words about your campaign. I've seen it's been kicking some butt. So that's very cool. Yeah. So what was it? 5 minutes, did you say?
Whatever you like. But just give us the backstory of how you started Australian Internet Advertising.
Yeah, cool. Man, I've got to, this is my favorite topic myself. So I've got to rein it in a bit or else I'll go go off on a tangent.
I'll moderate.
Australian Internet Advertising started in 2013 in November. Basically, I'd been in the digital marketing space for about 3 or 4 years prior to that. And just going back a little bit further, before I found digital marketing and started as a cold caller selling Google ads back in the day when Google ads first arrived. I worked for Australia's first reseller for Google ads. It was John Howard, I think, cut the ribbon out the front of Australia's big tech firm, Fulfillnet. The place had about 300 staff members within 6 months, over 2,000 clients. Wow. At that stage, you could ring people and just say, hey, do you want to be on the top of Google? They'd go, you can do that? And we'd say, yeah. And they go, here's my credit card, man. Do what you got to do. This thing's going to work. It was easy. It was easy flying, and it worked well back then too. The cost per click, you're looking at now $50 for some clicks or more. Compare that to back then, it was 2 or 3 cents, per click. So it's an auction. A lot more people got involved and could see that it works. But until I found that job, I had tried everything under the sun, Kobi. A lot of different jobs, and from warehousing to retail to hospitality to you name it, man. I did it, I just never really found that passion. I was always just going to work for money, until I got this job cold calling for Google ads, and it's funny how these kind of things work, right? Like I found what I really wanted to do, and then realized, looking back at how obsessed I was with the internet when the first modem came out, and I remember plugging my PC into the internet from my bedroom and just being blown away by the fact that my computer was now connected to the outside world. I think ever since then, I didn't at that time go, okay, I need to work with computers or online. It was just something I enjoyed. And I didn't even think of ever making any money out of it or making a career out of it. But the moment I got this job at Yodel, 15 years later, that was it. I kind of just found my passion. It's an amazing thing, like to think about the fact that you can, with your smartphone, you can pull this thing out of your pocket and FaceTime someone on the other side of the planet in 15 seconds flat. Still blows me away. We all should just be just shocked at how amazing technology is these days in our lifetimes. It's not like something that has been around and developed for hundreds of years. This is something that 20 years ago you couldn't do. So I'm still passionate about it. I love it. I love affecting the outside world. I've always been obsessed with human psychology. I think I've shared this with you before, Kobi, but one of those jobs was delivering fresh produce for 2 Lebanese brothers in North Sydney. And when I started, I was on like $12 an hour. I had to be there at like, 4:30 in the morning, and they were very rude to me. They were like not nice at all. And I got this book. My grandfather gave me this book actually called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I was about halfway through the second chapter of that book, and I had them saying please and thank you to me. And by like the fourth chapter, I had a pay rise to $15 an hour. So from that moment on, also that book sparked my interest in human relationships and being influential, persuasion, and just psychology in general, I suppose. So I'm right where I want to be right now. I absolutely love this industry. I love this business. I love working with our clients and coming up with campaigns and exploring the new technology that comes out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And look, that passion does come through, and it's a tough thing when you're running a business, as a lot of people know that. I would love to spend more time with my customers, but then you've got this team that you've got to manage. I'd love to spend more time with you because we kind of go, okay, well, we want to do these things together, but life gets in the way, and business gets in the way, and growth gets in the way. So I'm equally as passionate, and when you do have two groups of people working together, it's tough. Players holding each other accountable, and when if we're on a soccer field and you're on the same team, there's a little bit of internal competition, but then there's also that striving for that goal, and we do, I've got to say that we do get that from your organization. So that's great. So what I wanted to do with this chat was just bring people that are listening and or watching, for those of you guys watching some of the videos that we might splinter off this, I wanted to bring some awareness around that human psychology in the context of websites and in the context of the internet. Billy's got some really wise words to say around the human psychology thing and the internet. But I want to preface this with quoting Billy on something he said recently in one of his podcast episodes, which is, the internet is a popularity contest. That's it. It's nothing else. And right now, it has people's attention, and the people that are the most popular are going to get that attention. And so as an organization, when we start to think about what influences, human psychology, we need to just be mindful right now that there's going to be a popularity contest, whether it's TV, it used to be radio, then it was TV, now it's the internet. So from your perspective, when we think about that with the organizations, the businesses that you're working with, let's not go into 10, let's just maybe keep it short and keep it to 2, maybe 3. From your perspective and your view of the world right now, I think we're in the middle of the pandemic. I don't think we're at the end. I think we're in the middle. And so from your perspective, what are the 3 things that you think an organization, website focused, needs to focus on to win the popularity contest?
Look, that's something, Kobi, that's a great question. It really is the most important component to not only getting the exposure for your business, but winning the leads from your website, the phone calls, even the sales on the e-commerce businesses as well. We're psychologically geared towards not wanting to miss out, wanting to do what everyone else is doing. And that's why social proof is like probably the most important psychological persuasion technique, the box that you need to tick, basically. I'd say the most important box to tick, if you've got a list of things you need to do for your marketing, the one at the top that you should make sure that you're ticking every time is to build social proof. Because, I've said this and a bunch of times before, and I firmly believe it. You could have a poorly designed website. You could have a bad copy on your website. It could load slowly. But if you get visitors to that website and there's nothing else on that site except for a bunch of videos of your customers talking about how happy they are with you, you're 90% of the way there. People will look at that and not look at it too critically either. So I'm exploring a theory at the moment, but I'm not quite sure it matters who it is or why they're saying it. I think that if there's just a stack of people saying that you're awesome, people will just think, a lot of people think this company's awesome. They must be pretty good, right? Like, you look at the videos, the intros have gone, they were thrown out the window maybe a couple of years ago. You don't see people saying, "Hi, I'm Billy Polson from Australia," at the start of it. Scrap that, jump straight into the fun stuff, And I think it's the same thing, like with the testimonials. If you look at UGC content now, user-generated content for e-commerce is taken off. And the impact that those videos have on social media is unbelievable. And it's simply just back to that thing, I think, with our psychological tendencies to want to do what other people are doing, and follow the herd. If 100 people say this product's awesome, like, put it this way, Kobi, if you walk around for a week and every day a different person comes up to you and says, "Hey, have you checked out Netflix?" Which is probably actually what happened. I think it's exactly what happened with Netflix. And then the next day, another person, "Have you checked out Netflix? It's awesome." And then the next day, by the end of that week, you're getting Netflix, right? So I just think that is the most important thing for businesses, to build social proof, to get that kind of win that popularity contest, so to speak.
What back to cold calling and back to the let's talk very high level business development. If we were doing this 5 years ago, we'd both have suits on, and
Yep.
You're William Polson and I'm Kobi Simmat, the founder of Best Practice, and we wouldn't be sitting at home in lockdown, and we wouldn't be muddling with technology. We'd organize the meeting, and it's a week in advance and all that kind of stuff. What do you say to people who say, no, when this pandemic's over, I'm back in the car and I'm back banging on doors? Are those days over?
Do you mean with in regards cold calling and sort of door knocking? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I suppose I've always got a passion for cold calling. I never really want to say that it's completely out the door, because it's such a beautiful thing, a call center. Mm-hmm. It's it's wild, man. You know what I mean? It's like a zoo, and it's just, and you got bells ringing, sales going up, people shouting on the phone. I love that. That thing. I kind of came from that, but look, I think that if you can either make one sales call right now, or you could work on the best sales script, the best sales letter that you've ever written in your life, and you can make that sales call to 50,000 people an hour on Facebook or Google Display Network. So I think in regards to just effort versus reward, cold calling's got to be gone, because everyone's online these days. And you can subscribe, you can download the ebook, you can click on a phone number and call, you can buy now online with the click of a couple of buttons on a smartphone. So not only do you need to pick up a call and then go and get your credit card or anything like that, you literally don't even have to move. You can just click a couple of buttons and you've converted, right? So I'd say that definitely one of the turning points for our business was when we scrapped the call center and invested in our own inbound marketing efforts. That was probably 2 years in. We started out with quite a number of people in the call center, because back then it was still kicking ass. Like we were still calling people and promoting Google ads and winning decent clients out of it. But it got to the time, I suppose, if you've got something that's differentiated enough, that's interesting enough, and that has a high enough margin, high enough ticket item to sort of cover the costs of those cold callers, then it might still be appropriate, but certainly not in our industry, and probably a lot of other industries where it used to be. I don't think it works anymore. Yeah, you've got to get online. You've got to take advantage of the fact that you can reach so many people in such a short period of time online.
A ridiculous amount. What I will say is that we've got a little bit of success happening right now in one of our businesses where we're calling our existing customers, and that is working. Like we're bringing them in through the work we're doing with you. But then, 6 months later, we're they're our friends. We're calling our friends and saying, hey, how are you? How are you going? And they're, oh, by the way, could you help me with X? Of course we can.
Yeah.
So, so I think it's easy to forget that people become friends, and, these different ways of doing business, that at the end of the day, it's all still about relationships, and it's all still about,
Yep.
getting to know people and understanding what their challenges are in life and what they want to achieve in life, and you helping them to achieve that. So,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, some recent content from you has been excellent around, businesses that may have been struggling through the pandemic. Not specifically because of the pandemic, because everyone got COVID and had to stay home sick, but because governments implemented public health restrictions, which closed certain industries that were more likely to spread the virus. So I think we're missing that from the narrative that, hospitality, where you make food and someone's in the kitchen and they're sick, can spread it to lots of people really quickly. And so those industries have had restraints put on them. You talked about, say, service-based industries, trades, for example. Let's get into websites, because that is what Billy's business is all about, either paid traffic or organic traffic to websites to give you more exposure. What are the top two things that businesses can be focusing on, in terms of refreshing and updating their websites now for 4 areas of the world that have been in lockdown and are coming back online?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kobi. So websites, I think, are moving fast. There's a lot of new updates from Google, one of them being the Core Web Vitals update, where page speed is crucial now. So I guess not only for Google's algorithms, but also for your own conversion rates. We've seen that has a bigger impact on conversion rates than one might think, which highlights just how lazy people are online. Like we're sort of semi-zombified when we're clicking around online, right? So if something takes too long to load, we just hit the back button and go to a different website. And Google's identified that they want to improve their search experience. So they've introduced the Core Web Vitals update and set the bar really, really high. So that's the first thing. There's new website technology that's out that you can look into if you've got, the inkling to want to maybe redesign or rebuild your website. Looking at Jamstack solutions, JavaScript websites, static websites is the way of the future. There's no doubt in my mind about that. They just blitz all other platforms in regards to speed, load speed, that is. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, I guess, is also making sure that you have a clear objective with your website, and that your website is there to serve that purpose. There's so many websites out there that I've come across over the years where, for example, you've got a website that's sole purpose is to get people to fill out a form or to call you. However, finding the contact form or the phone number on your website's more difficult than it needs to be. So I think it's important that you have your objectives set early on, even for every page of your website, especially the primary pages, and you make the calls to action stand out. And you make the, whatever the primary objective is, you make that easily achievable for people that visit your website. Things like cognitive load play a big part in conversion rates. Too many different fonts, too many different colors, too many different things going on the page. People just go, you know what, my brain can't be bothered. And they don't consciously think this, of course, but it's just a subconscious thing where they go, that's too much. I'm going somewhere else. So that's one thing, is making sure that you follow a style guide, so that the flow is nice and easy to follow for people, and they can there's a thing called heuristic analysis. So they've got a complicated issue. Usually people visiting websites have a problem that they think is complicated. They're trying to solve. So a heuristic analysis on the website is basically how easy is it for them to solve that problem by visiting your website. So that's important to be adhered to. I think the basic kind of principles around design and speed, and then also for service-based businesses moving into the post-lockdown time, for however long this is going to be. I think it's really important to understand that there's people on all different divides in regards to this pandemic. They think it's whatever it might be, like not just a flu, or it's serious, and there's people on all ends of the spectrum. However, I think that the most important thing is to make sure that the market, your potential customer, knows that it's something that you take seriously, their safety. Having a COVID policy, talking about being compliant, wearing masks, having sanitizer, being vaccinated, dare I say, as well, I think is important, because, I'm sure that the majority of people that might be hiring you to come into their business or come into their home will be reassured by that, despite their public opinion in regards to the COVID thing and the vaccine thing. I think that it's important that people feel safe more now than ever, having you around, their home or their business. So that kind of thing is good as well. I think that's important for people to understand. And finally, Kobi, with websites, the purpose of a website is to do one of two things. It's either to for people to be referred to by other clients of yours, friends, even yourself. They call in, or they've heard about you. You point them to your website, and so they're informed, and you're building trust and credibility in that sense. And the other one is for rankings on Google, so that you can get organic traffic. So sometimes businesses reach out to us and we say, what, we don't think, with what you tell us, we don't think you do need a new $6,000, $10,000 website, or whatever it might be, or more in some cases. You've got a specific product, or you've got a specific service or a certain offer that you want to get out to the market. You actually just need a landing page. So that $6,000 that you were about to spend on a website, how about you spend that on driving traffic to this landing page, right? And then getting conversions that way. So often people think, I need a website, and they don't exactly know why exactly. Like that, a website primarily is to get organic traffic. That's kind of like the most important thing. You can build credibility and social proof with a 3-page website, right? Or you can promote an offer with a 1-page website. In fact, if you're promoting an offer, a 1-page website is probably going to do a better job. It's again, just back to the planning and having a clear objective and understanding around exactly what is this website's job, what is this page's job, and making sure that that's clear to the consumer. If someone once said, but someone once said, if you're being too obvious in marketing, then you're on the right track, because we're working on about 10%, IQ on the internet. We're like just following just the feeling of the moment. They what does Google call them? Micro moments. So people have micro moments online that just lead them down a path, often semi-consciously, until they get to the point where they think they're going to be able to solve their problem by getting in touch with someone.
Yeah, I think Michael Bungay Stanier talks about it in his most recent book, The Advice Trap, that we don't spend enough time being curious about the problem statement. And we do that, no one's holding us accountable. We're drifting. That's why it's surfing the internet,
Yes.
You just, you're sliding downhill the whole time. And so the easier that you can make your website a very slippery slope, the more likely you're going to get that, that action point. So one of our businesses is in the business of certification and certifications. And that's one you guys have been working on quite heavily the last 6 months, I guess. What's your views on businesses promoting different certifications and approvals that they've got? Like, where do you personally rank that in terms of importance with making sure that content's on their website?
It's right up there alongside social proof. So you need to have credibility. You need to build trust and credibility on your website so that people, you'll see this around as well. If you look around, people are members of associations. They've been awarded certain awards. They've got certain certifications. And, this is something, again, that people don't explore that. They don't critically think about it. People are not fully aware of everything that's going on a page or on a website. So, there's, and the reasons why people don't convert and the reasons why people don't buy a product are unbelievably broad and varied. So it's almost impossible to know exactly why people don't buy or why people don't inquire. But we do know from having had a look around and some of the research that I've read through that trust is a major factor for people on the internet. So having credibility on your website through certifications, affiliations, having memberships of certain groups or all of that kind of thing helps to build credibility. And so you've got basically on any kind of landing page or website, a bunch of boxes that need to be ticked: social proof, credibility, having a low cognitive load on your website, calls to action that stand out. So credibility is right up there as well. You really do need to tick that box in some way, shape, or another, or else people are not going to feel like they can trust you. And there's research shows as well, people are visiting at least 3 or 4 other websites when shopping around on average before they decide who they're going to contact. And that's over a period of time as well. People don't just sit down and go, right, I need to call someone, look at 4 websites and pick up the phone and ring. Continuously working on that, making sure that it's front and center and that you're ticking all those boxes and looking around at what your competitors, what boxes they've ticked and how they've ticked those boxes, and just making sure that your proposition is the best, and doing everything you can to make that happen, I'd say is really important. And in order to do so, you do need to have that credibility factor for sure.
Yeah, awesome. So, so if you're a client of best practice and you are listening to this, those best practice logos that you can use, it's really important to make sure that you've got those positioned on your website. You're showing you've got quality assurance. You're showing you've got sustainability or environmental certification. You're showing you've got your cybersecurity certification. That's for us right now, the ISO 27001 cybersecurity certification is one of our breakout services that is seeing a lot of market demand. Make sure those logos are well positioned on your website. Make sure you've got a paragraph about it so that when people are trawling through and doing their due diligence, should I call these people? Do I like them? Do I trust them? How do I feel about this? That's the objective, is to inspire that customer confidence, to have them go, oh, okay, cool. I feel like I can call these people, because they're also concerned that when they do make that phone call, that all of a sudden it's a salesperson on the receiving end that's not going to leave them alone until they go ahead. And that's why people are kind of, that psychology of kind of standing back. I just want to explore, resourcing, if you like. My team are I think, well, maybe they're not, but I think my team are an exception to the rule in terms of how much time we spend. We're updating our website every single day. We're tweaking so we can receive paid traffic. So we're making sure our landing pages are being adjusted constantly to receive our landing traffic from the different paid traffic that we've got. And obviously organically, we're adding blogs every day. We're tweaking every day. I think we're an exception to the rule. For a company that's, say, got, between 5 and 20 employees, service industry, maybe, a kind of a tradie organization that's starting to grow, what's your advice on how much time and how often they should be looking at their website?
Okay, so you're right. Resourcing is important. It is something that takes time, and not only takes time in respect to the actual time it takes to make the changes that you want to change, but also in learning about what changes need to be made, and how you can kind of go for the lowest hanging fruit. So I'd say that just as a rule of thumb, you really do want to be adding a blog post or two, bare minimum every month. If you can do it more often than that, that's definitely going to help. And not just posting blogs for the sake of posting blogs either. I think that it's important that it's understood that you're posting blogs to provide content to people who have questions, right? So if the question was, I'm a plumber, I own a website, I don't really know what I should do to try to improve the amount of traffic my website's getting. My answer to that would be, find out what questions people are asking Google in relation to the services that you offer, and write answers to those questions in blog articles. You can even title the blog article as the question. So, how do I unclog a drain, right? Or how do I unblock my drain might be a popular question that people ask. So you can actually write a blog titled "How do I unblock my drain," and then spend some time just detailing all of the answers to that question. The reason why that works well is for two reasons. One, Google picks up that you're providing value and content to the marketplace, to the searchers, and so they will provide traffic to your website as a result of that. So these are like longer tail, low competition keywords. And they also qualify the searcher as potentially a customer of yours, right? So the most popular ones and the most obvious ones are like, how much does it cost to unblock a drain? That guy, you want him on your website, right? Because he's about to pay someone to unblock his drain. So, and obviously that works in all different industries and different contexts, but I'd say that it's important that you're blogging at least 2 blogs a month. That would be the bare minimum for Google to pick up. Whenever they crawl your site, you really want them to pick up at least some changes as often as possible. So that's one thing. And then you can use Search Console, Google Search Console, to look at the data from this if you wanted to as well. Search Console is a great tool. It's the only tool that'll tell you what organic keywords you're getting traffic from. So look at that. I'd recommend business owners look at that as well, because that's going to give you some really useful insight into what traffic you're getting from the organic section of Google and what opportunities are there. You might be surprised, you might be at the top of page 2 for a really competitive keyword and you had no idea, right? So then you know what the obvious answer to that is, to start targeting that keyword. So just to answer your question, Kobi, I'd say it's you've got to make some changes to your website monthly. Ideally, adding some blog posts would be best.
Yeah, so we're on it all day, every day, as you know, and that's that's the top percentile of the world in terms of if you want to take it super serious. But to just get started, a couple of times a month, get into it. I want to use that as a segue to talk of let's do the plug for Australian internet advertising and the packages, because I think that's important.
Cool.
So I think just talk me through what your mindset is in terms of it's you're medium-sized construction company. You've got some big clients. You're doing some big projects. You've got a dozen people. You're a business owner. What are the areas that they might consider actually engaging you? And we won't go into pricing because this thing's going to float around. This interview is going to float around the internet for years to come, and we're going to be really famous in 10 years for this interview, by the way.
Someone's going to come back and go, but you said you'd do it for $2,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't say pricing because I want you to reach out to Billy. That's your call to action. If you really like this episode and you like what he's about to say, I want you to go jump on their website. We'll put all the links below in the description on YouTube, and obviously in the description on the podcast. Talk me through the packages.
Yeah,
at the
cool.
moment.
Okay. As it stands at this point in time, guys, we try to have a agnostic approach to where we go to get you the traffic. I don't think that, there's obviously primarily Google Ads services, managed Google Ads services. And in that are a whole bunch of different features and benefits, but mainly we just focus on making sure that you get the best possible bang for your buck by bidding competitively and writing better ads. So you get a higher click-through rate from your ads, from a lower cost per click, and it takes you to a landing page that gets you more conversions. So I'd say that that's probably the best summary for our Google Ads services that we offer. No locking contracts. If it doesn't work, we don't want you to keep having to pay us as well. That's crazy. So that's the Google Ads. Facebook, again, it's through creative design. We've got a slogan: we don't test ads on Facebook. We know that our ads are going to get better results because we know what works. So A/B testing is crucial with audiences, but our ads, we're putting a lot of effort into our ads. We've got videographers in here now. We're generating UGC content from social media influencers to help people sell their e-commerce products. And for service-based businesses, there's an unbelievable amount of success that we've seen for service-based businesses through Facebook ads. And a lot of people might think that that's not possible. I wouldn't have thought it was possible, 5+ years ago. but it certainly is the case. So lead form campaigns through Facebook, landing pages with high conversion rates that we can drive traffic to from Facebook, and obviously the funnel, the famous word, the funnel. So we set all of that up for you as well and take care of everything. And then with SEO, that's something that we're passionate about. We've got a formula that works well. It's not just smoking mirrors and red herrings. You don't kind of get a rank report at the end of the month with a bunch of links that you kind of don't really understand. We actually send you a detailed report showing you exactly what we've done for that month, both on your website, the backlinks we've acquired for you, and the blog articles that we've written as well. So our SEO, I honestly believe our SEO campaigns are up there providing the highest value when compared to any other SEO campaigns that you can get. And finally, guys, is the websites. We're doing Shopify websites, we're doing WordPress websites, but we're now also moving into our Lightspeed Jamstack solution websites. We're actually just about to launch our first instant click Jamstack e-commerce website. So that means it's a static website and it will be the fastest e-commerce website you've ever seen. It's brand new technology and it's built through a Shopify API. So we're also moving into high-end lightning fast loading websites with higher conversion rates, better rankings on Google. More than happy to talk to you guys about that in more detail as well. That's a rabbit hole, that one. So we won't go down there right now in regards to the tech.
Well, I think I do want to I just want to go a little bit further into this rabbit hole because it's really timely, this particular conversation and this particular topic. Instagram and Facebook were down 2 days ago. And so what is really important is that for those businesses that are relying, and that's not a huge part of our client base, but I know that people are kind of looking to how I can hustle on Instagram and Facebook and make money, that they were down. And so, you said agnostic about traffic sources, and it is important that, I've obviously over-indexed on, AdWords and Google and SEO because I see that, and I see these other things as traffic generating, not the repository. So I've kind of flipped it on its head. A lot of people see their Instagram page as being, well, that's where they exist on the internet, and ignored the rest. So, so for you, do you see these things as clouds orbiting each other? Do you see the website as being the central point, or do you see the future of make sure that your shop's got a shop on Facebook, a shop on Instagram, a shop on your website, other locations? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. The amount of times I've spoken to business owners about their Facebook page or their Instagram feed or their their other social media organic kind of profiles. I'm a big believer in that. I think that it's definitely something that is potentially going to provide a huge return on your investment, but you can't kind of dip your toe in with that, right? You've got to kind of continue to feed the beast at scale with volume, right, of material. So at the end of the day, it's going to cost you time and effort and money regardless. So there's ads and then there's social organic, right? And there's some great apps out there, by the way, that will help save time for you to be able to upload posts to every single, social media platform known to man with one click. So they're definitely worth making some use of if you're planning on going down that organic traffic generation from social media road. Then that's something that you can do. But at the same time, also paid social media campaigns don't require for you to have a large social media footprint. In fact, you kind of get that as a bonus from paid social media campaigns. So a lot of people feel like, I can't do Facebook because my page is empty. I haven't posted anything on my page for a while. Most of the people, in fact, virtually all of the people that click through to your landing page or your Facebook lead form or your website will have not will not have looked at your Facebook page. You know, that's kind of how they've structured it. So for paid ads on social media platforms, so that people can do that without having to continuously post also on their pages and keep their profile up that way. So they're two. I see them as two different advertising platforms almost. There's paid social, there's organic social. Both of them take a lot of time, cost a lot of money, and but get a massive result potentially at the end of it. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, Kobi.
Yeah, 100%. Sure. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we don't want to be all our eggs in one basket. And I think that is A, from traffic source. So you don't want to be just paid traffic source. You want to be focused on paid traffic, organic traffic, and then you want to be paid traffic, organic traffic on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. They'd be the kind of the four places, or the fifth place would be LinkedIn. I think that LinkedIn is being forgotten, and I think that I personally think that we're at the point on LinkedIn right now where Google ads were when they were 5 cents a click. And my massive regret is that I've got this enormous regret around this, which is I didn't go as hard as I thought I should have at the time. I let people talk me out of Google AdWords. At the time, they were 5 cents a click, and I've regretted it ever since I agreed to back off. I was like, no, okay, I've lived by I'm not the smartest person in the room. You're the smartest person in the room. You're saying don't do it. Okay, I won't do it, and I regret that. And that's why I've gone so hard. That we did 36,000 social media posts last year in 2019. We went massive volume. And this year, and that was to get practice. Now we've got the practice, we're getting really good on the quality. So where we were getting posts with maybe 5,000, 10,000 views on a post, we're doing one post, we get 200,000 views. So we're getting much better at the psychology and the platforms, and because we've had practice. So
yeah, cool.
So I'm conscious of time for everybody who's listening, and I'm always open for gems of advice. Hit me up with a question. What's your biggest challenge right now for your organization?
Oh man, I'm obsessed with tech. I'm obsessed with marketing psychology. I'm obsessed with the internet in general. But one of the things that I'm definitely in a steep learning curve around. When you start a business, you're the everything guy, right? So recruitment, training, account management, sales, bookkeeping, all the rest of it, and kind of trying to peel off and hand over those roles has been such a ride, man, and such a process, and something I'm still struggling with. I listened to you, Kobi, talk about how you went away for, how long was it? 3 months or something?
9 weeks.
9 weeks. Okay. So it was like two and a half, just over 2 months. And I almost started drooling. I was like, oh man, I'd love to be able to do that. But, and maybe I just should, that's when I got to the end of that. I was like, maybe I just should. So I'm struggling at the moment with, I think a thing a lot of business owners struggle with, especially when you get to a point where you're growing, like we're growing really quickly. We've got a lot of things happening. I've now got a recruiter, I've now got a salesperson that's just smashing it, and I don't need to be involved in that, which is good. Got some account managers, but I'm still getting a lot of need for my input in a lot of different areas. I feel like I'm getting pulled. Often I'm reacting, like you said in your podcast, Kobi, I'm spending a lot of time reacting and putting out fires and not really being able to stick to my to-do list. You know what I mean? I've got a to-do list, and then I get in, and by the end of the day, it's longer than it was when it started. So, that's really where I'm at, man. That's one of the things I've got as a challenge for sure.
Look, every day that's going to be, is building blocks. So this tip, I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it because it's really great advice. Is the first thing is audit last week. So have a look at last week, go back and have a look at your calendar. And if your calendar is blank, then there's task number one is start scheduling time. And so if we can go back and look at last week and say, well, what did I do last week that I really liked? And what did I do last week that I didn't like and delegate and elevate. So it's like, okay, well, I didn't like doing that. I know it needs to be done. I get the value. So start thinking about how you can invest that. And I give the same, I gave the same advice to Caitlin, my EA, yesterday. Like, audit last week. What did you enjoy doing? What didn't you enjoy doing? Do your strengths. And that's what they, this isn't my content. This is watching the high performance football teams globally. And even more recently, I've been watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV. It's fantastic. Let the players play to their strength, and you're a player, you're on the team, you've got to play to your strength. So you got to ask yourself, what did I enjoy? Now, if you need to go on a holiday, go on the holiday. So I am the person that keeps burning myself out. It's kind of time immemorial. Give me 3 years, I'll burn myself out, and then I'll need a reset. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, I live by this other statement. I was gifted through my DNA the gift of the gab. Talk a lot, make a lot of noise. I get it from my mom. She feels the silence. I was trained to feel the silence. Just, my son makes a huge amount of noise when he's in the shower at night. He sings and carries on. He's got my genetics. My dog's got that genetics, the noisy dog in the office. We're a noisy house. So then the rhetorical question is, would you be more influential finishing your sentences with a full stop or a question mark? And so if we can ask more questions and we can get really curious with our team members, and we can spend time being curious. And what I have found in specifically the last 6 months, I'm seeing it every single day, is if I can be quiet and I can just leave it a little bit more time. Sometimes it's only a couple of seconds. It could be 5 seconds or 30 seconds, which is, if I can leave it 5 seconds or 30 seconds, my team members will actually come up with the answer that I was thinking about. Your brain's going at 1,000 miles an hour. That's why you're the leader. That's why you started the business. You're like, get out of my way. I'm going to do this myself. What I'm finding is that it's like what you said to me with SEO. It needs 6 months. You got to put the seeds in the ground. You got to water them. You got to maintain them. You got to fertilize them. You can't boil an egg in under 3 minutes. You can't grow a crop in under 6 months. You can't do SEO in under it takes time to grow. And so you and I are the same in terms of, and lots of business owners and business leaders, you're going at 1,000 miles an hour and you're expecting people to go quickly. They haven't responded, they haven't reacted, they haven't answered the question. And so you jump in. And so for me, it's about, I'm getting credited or quoted on this in our business right now. I have this philosophy: 2 walks, 2 sleeps. If you ask me a question and you want my advice on something, expect to wait for me to go on 2 walks and 2 sleeps. So I do a 10-kilometer walk. I've got a loop here from my house. I go out the front door, around a lake and come back. Narrabeen Lake, the northern beaches of Sydney. I've got to walk that lake twice and I've got to sleep on it twice. You're not going to get a response from me for essentially 48 hours.
Yeah, cool.
What's happened is the team's growing. So, that's kind of the message, is the scale thing for you. So I'll give you 3 questions to ask, and anyone can do this. When you're sitting with team members, schedule 30 minutes with your direct reports and just ask them what's on their mind and what else. And you can multiply that question, and what else, and what else, and what are you doing about that?
Yeah, cool.
And that's really simple. And everyone can kind of take that advice. And that's the same with, us engaging you guys to say, okay, well, you guys are far better at it. And then we just say, okay, what's on your mind and what else? And what do you guys want to do about that? And you guys are an extension to our team. You're the nutritionist, the psychologist, the physio for our high performance team that are out on the field,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome.
So it's the 3 things, Kobi. It was, what was it? The first thing?
The first question is,
what are you thinking?
What's on your mind?
What's on your mind? Yep.
And what else?
And what else? And then what are you doing about it?
What are you doing about that?
Yeah. Cool. Okay. I'll be back to you, man. I'll bounce that back to you and let you know how it goes.
And that, that allowed me to take 9 weeks off, over 9 weeks. And people are like, oh, were you checking your emails and that kind of stuff? No, I wasn't. I think in the first 6 weeks, I had 4 phone calls. And the trip got extended because of the lockdown. We were like, well, we're not coming home because we were
Yes.
out of the lockdown area. Well, we're not going to come back into it.
Yes.
And so as a result, then I was just doing phone call catch-ups with people.
Yeah, cool.
And ironically, when I stay right here, I'm here in my home office right now. If I stay here in my home office and I don't go to the office, then I don't get caught up in the pulled in different directions. And I can look at my to-do list, and I can also, a masterclass trick, the advanced black belt trick is challenge your to-do list, because we will often write down a whole bunch of stuff because we are OCD and we want to kind of do all these things that are really important. I'm challenging my to-do list because I'm a list person, books and books and books of lists, day book lists. I'm challenging my to-do list now, and I'm saying, actually, I wrote down what I thought was a good idea. Was I curious enough about the problem statement? Did I take enough time to kind of, really think through that? And before I wrote that on my list, because if you actually say, well, if you were billing a customer for your time and bill your company for your time, is that a good use of your time doing that thing on the list?
Yes.
And I think putting an hourly rate, put your hourly rate against that thing, you're actually like, yeah, it's a great idea, but can we live without it? Absolutely. Yes, you can.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. I like that. Very cool, Kobi.
So where do we find Billy Polson?
Well, you can find a great photo of me on our homepage that will soon be removed at aiad.com.au. Our office is in St Leonards here in Sydney. So feel free, just visit the site. You can type in a whole bunch of keywords. You'll find us at the top, of course.
Nice.
And have a chat with me anytime, guys. I'm happy to speak with you and talk about what, the unique position you might find your business in at the moment and how we can help you. We've got some really exciting stuff going on at the moment, Kobi, with social media ads specifically. That's kind of the next big thing for us. Getting some videographers in and doing some cool creative ads. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice.
So yeah, hit me up, guys.
Nice. And I can highly recommend Billy's podcast. It's Billy Polson. He's on Spotify right next to me. And if you want to sit and have a listen to Billy and Joe shooting the breeze on, really technical stuff. Both of them are super knowledgeable about some content there, and some really great stuff that I picked up, tips and tricks. And I can ask my team to go and implement, or I can get your team to implement. So please check that out. If you haven't connected with him on LinkedIn, we'll post the link to his LinkedIn page there as well. Mate, it's been great having you on the episode. I want to dig deeper down into psychology next time. And and it's been absolutely fantastic. And I'm conscious of time. So yeah.
Thanks for having me on, Kobi. I'm honored, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Been a lot of fun.